Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Expert Commander. The, we are running with that. It's Expert Commander. It's the podcast that literally nobody asked for, but we're doing anyway. And I am Christopher Armour.
Sorry, I was just blown away by the fact that we're called the Expert Commander, which is I've never been happier in my adult life by that, and I feel like I should make loads of sort of karate noises when it's Expert Commander. Anyway, yeah, my name is Nick Gonzo, and
I've already done the incidental music for this podcast.
Is there any?
We've got Foley sound now as well. You're our Foley sound guy. I'm gonna come over and you're just gonna have like a bunch of like rocks and horseshoes and stuff. And you just be making random sound effects for films.
Wouldn't it be great if Foley artists sort of just, you see them walking just down the street, just sort of just making strange noises, hitting things with things, and you're like, oh yeah, ignore that guy. He's just a Foley artist.
I like to imagine, the cliche about guitarists. It's like, you have guitarists at a party, and sooner or later they'll play Wonderwall. Like you got like a Foley artist at a party, and sooner or later he'll just start bashing shit together to make the sound of horseshoes.
We can't invite Dave to the party. Why? Because we know that he'll just start doing his Foley artist thing. Like, he'll be like, oh yeah, I'm a Foley artist. Someone will bring out a boom microphone, and then it's just all about Dave. Just Dave, just like, can I get a bit more height? Oh, Dave.
It's like rather than anyway, here's Wonderwall. It's like, anyway, here's the sound of a Balrog. Here's the sound of a Star Trek door opening.
Oh.
Anyway, so on the first episode of this podcast, we had this idea that we would open each podcast with sort of an unusual or a funny piece of news which we'd found or read in that week. And then if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to that podcast, because Nick stumbled across several pieces of news which completely killed our interest in ever pursuing that idea again. Safe to say that real life had sort of caught up a little bit, and it wasn't fun or funny at all anymore. So I would like to propose that we start this podcast slightly differently in future. One of the things I do with my time is I volunteer for the RSPCA in a furniture and book charity shop, and I would like to propose a segment which we're going to call Weird Shit I Find in the RSPCA.
Weird shit at the RSPCA. What's that you got there? Is it offensive? Yes. I propose that next week I try and find you something strange.
Please do, because I'm into this idea.
Riff off one another with things we have found in the week.
That would be all right, actually. We should do that. If you like installment 1 of Weird Shit I Find in Charity Shops, might be a bit difficult to beat, because I'm holding in my hands, Nick, a book which I'm shortly going to gift to your good self, which is called Way Out Ideas for Youth Groups.
I am deeply excited to possess this.
Yeah, it's a small square book. I posted a picture of this on my Instagram recently, and it was initially published in 1968. So if you can imagine this.
So you're saying initially published as if it's had a reprint at some point?
Oh no! It has. It's had reprints. I'm looking in the front cover now, and it says copyright 1968, 1969, 1970, and 1971. And the current version, the version I'm currently holding, is the 12th printing.
Of 12.
The 12th printing, this came out in 1980, so this had a pretty good run.
I love the idea that every single one is just 12 books printed 12 times in order to complete the cycle.
It's like they just completely misunderstand the idea of a pressing.
Yeah, we made 5. That'll do, right?
That'll do, yeah. Anyway, so this book is produced by Zondervan Publishing House, which is a sort of evangelical religious publishing house. And there's a sticker in the front which says that it was bought at the Scripture Union Bookshop in Rondebosch. I've got no idea.
It was published by Definitely Not Occult Books.
Definitely Not Occult
With
Publishing.
A sticker on the front that says, now with 10% less cult.
Now with 10% less rat poison.
I am always amazed by these things. I am deeply impressed by them. Just the audacity of these sorts of things. Like, I used to, I don't know how, but I went through a period of my life where I would just seem to find strange evangelical literature lying around.
Sure.
Um, so like on the train, you'd sit down, and then on the seat next to you, somebody had left a leaflet about lighthouses being the way of God or something.
Oh,
And
right, yeah.
yeah, and you just like somebody had to put that together and hand it to a second person who went, "This is good. Let's run this through the press." Possibly a third person was involved, but it went through a series of lenses that eventually allowed it to be made, and that's nuts.
Yeah, I think that's really the thing, isn't it? Like, an awful lot of people all had to walk in a straight line all at once in order to get this made.
Yeah, several people have the same thought process.
Yeah,
Just
they
like
had to find other like-minded
a whole
people.
bunch of people's insanity just overlapped for a few moments.
Yeah, and so this book, this way out ideas for youth groups. And by the way, I don't think I've mentioned this yet, Nick, but there were actually two other ones in the same series that came into the shop on the same day, which were which were like far out ideas for youth groups and way rad ideas for youth.
Right. What's the scale? Okay, so it's far out, then way rad, and then what's the middle one?
Way cool or something.
Way
I'm not
cool.
sure. Judging by the content, it should be far right ideas for youth groups.
Are you? Oh, nice one. But because you read it as like they've got a scale. You know how in Scientology they plug you in and they work out your sort of weird made up shit on meter level. Like, oh, you've got 400 glur bonds. You're toxically poisoned of the soul.
It's a thetans, isn't it? Thetan levels, which
But like that, there's something like puts a little electrode in your tongue and runs a little charge. And goes, this guy's way out. How are we going to align him? It's like, oh, you think that's bad? This guy's far rad. Just he starts spinning around like, oh, he's super cool. Nothing to do with this guy.
give us all your money and you'll be able to work up the scale into wicked sick. And that's where you reach enlightenment.
That's where you can complete the sweetest dunk. It's like, this guy has finally become totally tricked out. There's nothing more we can teach him. Please share some far out ideas with us.
Yes, okay, I will do. For the most part, this book is mostly actually more innocuous than you might think. It's mostly just it's like party games, I suppose. It's like if you've got a youth group, it's like, here's how you organize a scavenger hunt, and here's how you organize like a game of football, but one team always has to be balanced on one leg. And but the thing is, like, I picked up this book and I swear this is true. It just fell open on this page, which is like a questionnaire,
like Jumanji, just like the game has begun.
Yeah, so it just falls open on this one page, and it's like a questionnaire for these for these kids at this religious youth group. And the first thing on the first page is suicide. Question 1: think of a creative new way to commit suicide. and it's just.
Did you, by the way, have you cooked one up yet?
Is killing yourself really a far out idea?
How rad on the radometer scale is suicide? Is it A, very rad, B, super rad, or C, not rad at all?
It's like hanging yourself is a 4.5, but hanging yourself while jerking off, that's a 7.4.
If it's good enough for it's good enough for me.
Oh, I'm gonna have to fact check that and probably edit it out.
It's entirely true.
Is it?
Yeah, he died in an autoerotic asphyxiation accident.
Oh boy, that's not a good way to go. So directly opposite on the opposing page, there's a little yes/no questionnaire about and it's called the will of God. And one of the questions is, has God already chosen a wife or husband for you? And someone has already gone in with pencil and ticked yes.
That's aspirational, isn't it? That's like,
I know.
Please God, yes.
And it's like, I don't know when that was made. I've looked through the whole rest of the book. There aren't any other notes anywhere else in the book. There's nothing else has been underlined. That's the only mark in this book that shows that somebody else has read it. And it's one tick in a box that says, has God already chosen a wife or husband for you?
I genuinely don't know what to make of that. I've always wanted to be a cult leader. And that's where I'm going to leave that. Let's move on.
Okay, let's move on.